Sometimes a team has to beat the thing it's trying to become. And this is Warrior 41, the David Lee episode. So the Warriors come into this game, a Friday night game, at 41-23, sitting sixth place in the Western Conference. And it sounds comfortable until you look behind them. Utah's just one game behind them. Houston's 2 games behind them. Now, Lakers, they're still hanging around like a movie villain that the good guy forgot to kill. Golden State had been 30-17. Then they lost 6 straight. And they finally stopped the bleeding against Phoenix 2 nights prior. But beating the Suns at home only proves the patient still has a pulse. If the Warriors want to believe the season's really different, they're going to need something more convincing. And unfortunately for them, San Antonio isn't normally in the confidence donation business. See, the Spurs come in at 44-12, the NBA's best record. They've beaten Golden State 16 times in a row. That's a streak that stretches back more than 5 seasons. Tim Duncan, still Tim Duncan. Tony Parker is in the MVP conversation. Manu Ginobili is healthy again, and Kawhi Leonard is quietly turning into something terrifying. Golden State also learns before the game that Andrew Bogut is out indefinitely with back spasms. He's already played just 12 games following ankle surgery. So what would satisfy you here as a Golden State fan? Do the Warriors have to win? Or would pushing the league's best team into the fourth quarter be enough? Before we get there, let's talk about the man in the brand new yellow shirt. David Clayton Lee, born April 29th, 1983, in St. Louis. He grew up naturally left-handed. But during his sophomore year at Chaminade Prep, he broke his left arm. But instead of shutting down, Lee learned to play right-handed. And by the time the arm healed, he was functionally ambidextrous. And that little detail explains a lot about his career. Lee was never going to overpower the NBA with one unstoppable move. He survived by having a lot of answers. Right hand, left hand, quick spin, soft hook. If the first door closed, he'd already found another one. At Chaminade, he became Missouri's Mr. Basketball, a parade first-time All-American and a McDonald's All-American. He also won the 2001 McDonald's Slam Dunk Contest. And that's worth remembering because later NBA David Lee was known more for positioning and touch. But young David Lee, he could get up. He chose the Gators and played 4 seasons for Billy Donovan. Lee made the SEC All-Freshman team, then earned second-team All-SEC recognition twice. As a senior, he helped Florida win the first SEC tournament in program history. And that 2004-05 roster also contained freshmen Al Horford, Joakim Noah, and Corey Brewer. Pretty good group. Lee left just before that group was consecutively national champions in 2 seasons, but he helped establish the floor that they launched from. The Knicks took him with the final pick of the first round in 2005, number 30 pick. Well, at the number 30 pick, there's no promise of stardom. You're basically being told, congratulations. Now prove you belong here. To his credit, Lee did. His early Knicks teams were generally a bit of a mess, but he became a dependable source of energy for them. He rebounded, he finished efficiently, and he ran the floor every night. In December 2006, he even won a game against Charlotte by tipping in an inbound pass with 1/10 of a second remaining. At the 2007 Rookie Challenge, Lee scored 30 points with 11 rebounds and went 14 for 14 from the floor. Pretty good, right? He was named MVP, and by 2008, he was piling up double-doubles. I can talk, I swear. He was piling up double-doubles, and in November of that year, he gave Golden State 37 points and 21 rebounds. In 2010, Lee became the Knicks' first All-Star since Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell in 2001. 2 months later, against these Warriors, he produced 37 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 helpers. The kind of performance that makes another organization start imagining you in their uniform. So that summer, Golden State acquired Lee in a sign and trade and gave him a 6-year deal worth roughly $80 million. At the time, that was star money, and plenty of people wondered whether Lee's numbers in New York had been inflated by playing on bad teams. In his first 2 Warrior seasons, Golden State won a total 59 games combined, but Lee kept producing. But the skepticism followed him. Was Lee a winning player, or was he a very good player collecting numbers while the losses piled up? But now the team's winning, and Lee's producing more than ever. He's just returned from Houston as Golden State's first All-Star since, again, Sprewell in 1997. That's 16 years without an All-Star, ended by the guy everybody had been taught not to take too seriously. Was David Lee underrated at this point, or is this exactly right? Is this exactly where you'd rate him? The game starts evenly. Golden State's new short sleeve jerseys, they're the loudest thing in the building. The yellow tops are paired with the striped shorts. They cost $300 in the team store, and Lee laughs when he first walks onto the court. So this particular game is attached to a failed fashion experiment. The Warriors, they're trying to establish themselves as a serious team, while dressed like someone accidentally washed a bicycle jersey with basketball shorts. Years later, you can glance at one frame and immediately locate the night in history. Maybe ugly uniforms have value. They give a game a fingerprint. The basketball underneath them is tight. There's 17 ties, 20 lead changes. Neither side creates much separation through the first 3 quarters, and Golden State trails 68-67 entering the fourth. Then San Antonio does what the Spurs do. With Duncan and Parker on the bench, San Antonio's reserves rip off 12 straight. The Warriors miss their first 6 shots of the quarter, add a turnover, and fall behind by 13 with 9 minutes left. And it feels familiar. Golden State fought hard. San Antonio found the weak seam, and now the grown-ups are going to put everything away. Mark Jackson calls on Jarrett Jack to take control. And Jack, he gets the offense organized. Curry scores 5 straight. Golden State runs where it can and begins forcing San Antonio into uncomfortable possessions. What looked like a routine closeout for San Antonio turns into a 13-0 Warriors response. Curry's 3 ties it at 80, just 3 minutes after trailing by 12. By now, Oracle is floating. Lee's doing the dirty work everywhere. He scores through contact, he chases missed shots down, and he refuses to let Tim Duncan or Tiago Splitter control the point. Without Bogut, Golden State needs Lee to survive inside, and he's having the best rebounding night of his career. The team's trade blows into the final seconds. With Golden State down 1, Curry drives toward the left baseline. San Antonio collapses in on him, so Curry jumps and fires the ball backward to Jack, beyond the arc. Jarrett, he drills it. Golden State leads 93-91 with 7.3 seconds left. But the Spurs respond. Ginobili beats Harrison Barnes on a backdoor cut. Duncan reads it instantly, and his pass reaches Manu for the tying layup. Overtime. At 98-96, Klay Thompson pulls up from about 20 feet and ties the game. Then Curry steals a Ginobili pass and pushes it ahead to Jack, who flips in a reverse layup. Golden State has the lead with 1:31 left, and they never give it back. Lee puts the finishing touches on 25 points and a career-best 22 rebounds. Jack ends with 30, along with 10 assists off the bench. Curry scores 18, but his steal and advanced pass create the basket that finally moves the Warriors in front for good. Golden State wins 107-101. It's the first time Golden State's defeated San Antonio since January 2008. Afterward, Mark Jackson called it a beautiful win. He said his team had every opportunity to hang its head and decide that just fighting San Antonio, good enough. But it didn't. Jackson also goes to bat for Jack as the league's number 1 sixth man. Pointing to his scoring and his voice in the locker room, Jack says Jackson yelled at him to get going and take the team home. Jackson loved that confidence and tried to deliver on it. Late in overtime, ESPN's microphone catch Jackson speaking directly to the players. He tells them they've earned the right to finish this game. They've earned the right to win. So Lee's laughing before tip-off because the uniforms look ridiculous. A few hours later, he's holding a stat line that nobody can laugh at, 25 and 22 against the best team in the sport. So what do you most remember about this night if you were watching? Do you remember Lee owning the glass, or do you remember the bizarre uniforms? Do you remember Jack taking over? The victory puts Golden State at 32 and 23, and the Warriors eventually finish 47 and 35, secure the 6th seed, and reach the playoffs for the first time since 2007. Lee averages 18.5 points with 11.2 boards, leads the NBA with 56 double-doubles, and makes third team All-NBA. Then in his first career playoff game, he completely tears his right hip flexor against Denver. His season is over, right? But he returns briefly in Game 6, and the Warriors do eliminate the Nuggets. They meet San Antonio in the second round and push the Spurs to 6 games before finally going out. San Antonio finishes 58-24. They sweep the Lakers, finish Golden State, then sweep Memphis to reach the NBA Finals. They got within seconds of winning the championship before Ray Allen's 3 rescues Miami in Game 6. And the Heat finished them off in Game 7. Lee remains productive in 2013-14, but the following season changes everything. A hamstring injury costs him 24 of 25 of Golden State's first 25 games. Draymond Green takes his starting job. Lee doesn't pout his way out of town. He accepts a smaller role and stays ready. During the 2015 finals, with Golden State getting a little wobbly against Cleveland, Lee gives the Warriors useful minutes and another way to attack. Golden State won the championship in 6, and there's something strange about Lee's Warriors arc. He arrives as the expensive centerpiece. He helps make the team respectable, becomes the first All-Star in 16 years. Then he loses his job because the organization grows beyond him. He still gets to leave with a ring. Would you have handled that demotion as well as Lee did? Golden State trades him to Boston in July 2015, and the fit doesn't work. The Celtics waive him in February. He finishes the season with Dallas, signs with San Antonio, and he gives the Spurs one solid final season. 7.3 points, 5.6 rebounds in a reserve role. He suffers a knee injury during the 2017 Western Conference Finals against Golden State. Then he retires that November at 34 years old. Across 12 NBA campaigns, Lee scores 11,232 points and grabs 7,320 rebounds. He's a 2-time All-Star, an All-NBA selection, and an NBA champion. That's a pretty good return on the 30th pick. Next time, we're leaving basketball and heading to Minute Maid Park. All right. So, Astro 66, that's Yuli Gurriel, June 28th, 2019. The Astros can't get anything going, and Gurriel himself spends most of the night popping the ball straight up. Houston stuck in an offensive funk, and this thing drifts into extra innings, tied at 1. Then, Yuli gets one more fastball. Till then, I'm the Wolf. This is Sports Lab 100, and this is Warrior 41, David Lee. Thanks for hanging out, and maybe I'll see you next time.